Hey, there he is. How's it going, sir? You well? It's been a while.
I am. I've had been quite a bit. Last night. I spent a class with Jeff McBride's school on.
Oh, nice. How was that?
Yeah, that was interesting. I didn't know what to expect, but it was basically a lecture on how to lecture public speak on that, which was kind of what attention to me was open your voice. So I was like, not sure exactly what they mean by that, but so far I've been interacting with the school, and it's quite nice. So I
Nice.
thought it was
Oh, I'm
nice.
glad. Yeah, I've only ever heard good things about the school. I've not been to any classes myself. I know people that have been there, obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
so long as you're getting something out of it, that's really all that matters, right?
Yep. Yeah, no, I interacted because they put us in a little classroom, a little interact for four people. And while I started to get stage fright talking to them a little bit, I found out that all of them were dealing with cognitive issues one way or another, whether they were a parent of somebody who was, uh, say, autistic, being an autistic person, or in the case of one, was his wife had had a couple of strokes and was using magic to help get her to do her lessons to get back into living normally. It was amazing.
Wow, wow. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah,
That's truly incredible. I love that.
yeah, yeah. Uh, the amazing was is that I was like, wow, I've just been looking at stuff that they go around doing that. There's a magic aid, sort of
Yeah.
a Patch Adams version of it, which found out that the guy who was with his stroked wife was basically doing that on his own.
Right.
And Magicians Without Borders, that they go around right now. Their big thing was in the Ukraine, helping
Of
the
course. Yeah.
with the refugees, refugee camps.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
so
I was like,
cool.
yeah, I was amazed at the synchronicity of what was going on.
Well,
Yeah.
there is a misunderstood magic to the world at times. Pun
Mm-hmm.
very much intended. Pun very much intended.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, what do you work? Are you still living your Indiana Jones lifestyle? What's happening with you? What's going on?
Ah, not a heck of a lot. I was getting excited about getting Magic back in stuff, so I bought a few things
Nice.
and uh, doing a couple of things every once in a while. I still
Nice. I
have
like it.
a lot of, even if I'm stuttering right now, I can notice that I have to focus my work on getting focused on being excited as opposed to stressed about things. Still got a little bit of stage fright on that,
Gotcha.
on that part. But I loved interacting with the school you set up. I thought that was really nice. I
Yeah.
had never heard about the school before, so uh,
Well, McBride's again never met him, but only ever heard wonderful things about him. Like
mhm.
him and his work with Eugene Berger, who's passed
Yeah.
on now. A wonderful couple of dudes. Wonderful couple of dudes.
Uh,
It's
well, in this case, I meant the stuff that you had set up right now with all the message boards and whatnot
I
with
see.
the
I
school.
see.
Yeah, no,
Gotcha.
I like that quite a lot. I've been trying to do the loop method fairly slowly. Haven't finished everything,
Yeah.
um, but I noticed in when I was doing the latest one, I was able to do from the coffee mug to the deck of cards. I was able to do it backwards and forwards so far. And I didn't test myself today, but I had at least 12 hours working on that, so that
Awesome.
was good.
That's
Yeah.
that. I mean, that in and of itself, right, is
Hmm.
is one of those things where you look at the work on cognitive limits of any kind, whether it come from George Miller or Ebbinghaus or anyone else that works in memory research of any kind, those numbers there that you've just put up
Mm,
shatters cognitive limits, and I love that. I love that because
mm,
what it kind of suggests, whether it be outright or on a small scale, is that everyone's capacity to do more is already there. It's just about thinking about things in a slightly different way to how the mainstream of school or just growing up, tends to put forth the routines of how to do. If you slightly tweak it,
mhm,
slightly play with it a little bit. I mean, I'm sure
mhm,
I'm sure it might connect to you, but it definitely connects to me that if I can play with the information a little bit more, as opposed to just rote and learn it and then stick it through this and research this,
mhm,
if I can play with it a little bit more, it
mm,
it always seems to um what's the word I need? Find more meaning for me. Um, So yeah, I love that, mate. Those numbers for you are a tantamount to the effort, testament, excuse me, to the effort that you put in to do it. And in terms of speed, please don't ever worry about that. Um,
mhm,
the Unless it becomes a requirement of your role as a magician or your role as whatever you do for
mhm,
for speed to be a thing, don't worry about that. I would rather you have the capacity to get more in there and it be
mhm.
retained than it just be really quick. Right?
Yeah.
The speed itself doesn't really matter. It's the retention that is the point. Speed is fine for a show off point or a competition, or if you work in a high stakes environment. Of course it is. But oh yeah, is Pascal. In case you didn't know about these cerebral socials,
Mhm,
they're not mandatory. People just kind of pop in and out, and if you can make it, great. If you can't, you can't. So you know,
mhm.
if you've got things going on, don't feel that you got to stick around. But hey, Pascal, how you doing, sir?
Pretty good yourself.
I'm very well, thank you, my friend. Very well. David is actually from your neck of the woods, a Canadian.
Oh,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Which part of Canada are you?
I'm actually on the island of Montreal, more the West Islands, so I think we're not too far away.
No, because I live in Sherbrooke.
Sherbrooke. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
there we go.
Cool.
We can start. We can start global domination in Canada.
With our sinking submarine. Yes,
I
that's going to be good. And our
mean,
slingshot.
I know about it. I'm keeping up with the politics.
Ugh.
But yeah, we were Pascal. Just to kind of catch up on what we were talking about, we were talking about the unnecessary nature of being quick with memorization, and you should probably favour retaining more as opposed to doing it quicker. If speed comes over time, great, c'est la vie. But if it doesn't really matter. The important thing is that whatever you memorize sticks, and it be a true representation of what it is that you need. Like what's been your experience of speed? Have you found that it's thrown you, not thrown you? You take to it quite well. What's your experience with
It depends a lot of the context.
it?
Because if the context allow me to take my time, I sure will take my time. Because I'm a fast thinker, but not a fast learner. So I know that. So and by the difficulty that I have to memorize images, it's
Yeah,
makes stuff harder because I have to recreate different paths to make sure that it stays on. So speed is hard
I
for
get
me.
it. Yeah, I
Uh,
get it.
like the challenge that you put with the 16 name
Hmm.
with the linking system.
Hmm.
I think I still remember all 16 till today, and I learned it Monday. So pretty sure I didn't watch the video yet. I want to challenge myself a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure I'm good. But with the linking system, like you did, create a special image and
Yeah,
make it crazy as we can and things like
yeah,
that. It's hard.
yeah,
It's really hard for my brain. So I went with some kind that I think I always use is the I called it the zoom in, zoom out principle, but I don't know if it's the right word or for that. But you know, the like the first system was a coffee mug, but when I zoom in the coffee mug, it was a pen, and if I zoom in the pen, it's a towel, and if I zoom in the towel, you know, I have to do that because if I create like I don't know, a mug, like you said, a mug with it working hard on the desk with the pen and things like that. It stakes in my mind because you said it and it was word, but if I create it, I see blank.
yeah. That's the aphantasia joy. I mean, I have plans for that in the school. There will be a course dedicated to methods for aphantasia, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I was, you know, the Pichakucha method where we were talking about drawing things from the Sherlock group. One of the things I've been dabbling with that there's an app called Endless Paper. It's Endless Paper or Infinite Paper, and this type, and so you can make a drawing and kind of you know on the screen zoom into it and then connect it to something else and just keep zooming and then connect it to something else and just keep zooming and connect it to something else. So it's funny you should mention that. It's that's one of the ways to do it, but the there seems to be not necessarily here, but there seems to be like this misunderstanding with memory methods in general, that it has to be a method that has been written about, or you know, or that somebody else has used, or you know, I'm of the opinion that if it works for you, then it's a memory method. You know, that's the very definition of it, right? We can go
Very
through
much.
we can go through the formal practical stuff and you know learn about the different methods and the different ways of using our brain. And you know, I was talking to Saeed about it last time. He was dabbling with song lines, you know, the
Mm.
memory through singing songs, and he was thinking that maybe there is specific types of information that is better suited to a particular method. And I was like,
Mm.
not really the case unless you're using numbers. You know, you can split the difference between numbers and words because there's a different degree of tangibility to it. But
Mhm.
really, all the methods boil down to in that situation is Saeed didn't feel very comfortable singing. So I was like,
Mm.
don't sing. If you want to do so, right? If you want to do something a little bit more theatrical, move to it. Go for the Cicero
Yeah.
methods and use colours, or you know the hand and the body as the memory palace. Use that. You know some of the Aboriginal methods rely on dances. You know, and
Mhm.
no, nobody's going to see these types of things. You know, it's information that exists only in your head. But if it is that singing out loud makes you feel uncomfortable, that is the thing that's going to harm the memory. So, like with yours, Pascal, if for whatever legitimate reason the creation of the images is hard, use the Zoom one. Totally. My goal with the memory methods is to provide enough awareness of the differences so that everyone is covered, so that everyone has no reason to forget anything outside of like deciding that you don't need to remember something, right? Because
Mm.
that's also pretty fair too, you know. So yeah, that's yeah. There's a lot of misunderstood stuff with memory, and like David was talking about before with one of these different courses and groups that he belongs to, that there is a person using magic to bring about. Was she a stroke victim? Did you say, David?
Yeah. In that, it was his wife who had had second stroke. Used the self-bending spoon trick to get her to concentrate on it, and because it did that, and it got her to concentrate. So there, and then she went on to do the classes with whatever aid group that they had signed up for, and was number one. So in everything from effort to compliance. That was the word I was looking for.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
But like when you think of that on the surface, using magic as a memory aid to a stroke victim, you're like, on the surface that sounds nonsensical, but you look at the practicalities of it, and it's awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just a method to get them to focus, or change their state. Because he said, oh, sometimes he does a disappearing handkerchief because somebody doesn't want to take their pills, so he does that to make them laugh, and then and in midst of that, he's like, oh, you can take your pills for me while you're at it, and
Yeah,
they do that.
beautiful. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
It's like there is I was going to call it growing. It's been going on for quite some time. I only stumbled across it over the last kind of 3-4 years as a result of working with Igor Ledachovsky, who, if you don't know, is just a phenomenal conversational hypnotist, absolute wizard. And he put me on to a kind of therapeutic practice where people use memory palaces to recode their behaviors around phobias or difficult situations. And the nutshell of it is, when you think about the behavior, it is a system. So there's one thing that reminds a person of another thing that reminds a person of another thing that reminds a person of another thing. It's like a memory palace of sorts, and you get the person to talk about what the steps are and then change out the information so that when the impetus starts, they're remembering differing information, and slowly but surely the behavior has changed over time. And I was like, again, memory palace is a form of therapy. You're like, people are just using it to remember shopping lists, but no, memory palaces are changing lives, and it's I love it. I love it. It's it's kind of why. And please tell me to shut up at any stage. I've spent a lot of time in front of a computer by myself, so I'm getting out all this talking energy at you guys. So I apologize, but I'm not scared of growing old. I'm not scared of dying. I am scared of losing my marbles, because it's one of those. It's like a loss of identity. Like if I can't remember something important, like if I forget my wife's name, or these types of things, and that unsettles me. And I think that's part and parcel of why I love memory work because so much is because the stuff of it is connected to like the strength of identity, and the important parts of who I am are only there because I can remember them.
Yeah, our mutual acquaintance Anthony has much the same stuff. So I've been following him for the same reason. I haven't fully delved into his course, but I did sign up for it. So I go back and forth between a few things. I have to make sure that I put the brakes on before I overwhelm myself, because you're familiar with getting, I want to get into all of this and know everything at the same time, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good way to burn yourself out.
It's true, mate. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pascal, if you don't know who are Anthony Metivier,
I know him.
Yeah.
I spoke with him.
Another Canadian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, he live in Toronto, something like that. Like I
Yeah.
think, or
I think he's in
at least
Australia now.
Ontario.
He's in Australia now, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, in my house, he's affectionately known as Canadian Jesus. Um, with
That
with
works.
with nothing but love, because I could honestly pick that man's brain for days. But
Mhm.
he put
Oh
a
yeah.
post on his Instagram earlier. I was like, that's pretty much taking content from my TED talk. Stop it. The long and short of it is he was talking about like a reliance on tech of some kind. In that every time you rely on tech to do something, you're
Mhm.
outsourcing what your brain does, right? So rather than just Googling it, try and figure it out first. Rather than just put the address in a sat nav, try and find your way first. You know, these types of things. Bring back the
Mhm.
power of your own brain, and that is pretty much some of the content from my TED talk, because I'm talking about like how blind reliance on tech is just as bad as blind defiance on tech, with tech, in terms of the society that we're in. Tech isn't going anywhere. It's just a point of how we use it. You know,
Mhm.
it is a point of control. It is a point of ease. The allure of convenience is, in my opinion, and it's only an opinion, bear in mind, is robbing us of certain parts of our humanity. You know, as a result of a reliance on tech, our critical thinking is harmed, our emotional intelligence is harmed, our ability to communicate is harmed, our empathy is harmed,
Mhm.
our memory is harmed, and like these are all fundamental human skills. So yeah,
But it's kind of a vicious circle because if you use your tech to remember, you're gonna say to yourself, "Oh, I have a bad memory, so I need those tech," and those tech make us have bad memories, and the
exactly,
circle is like never
exactly,
Oh
ending.
yeah. Absolutely.
exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly. It's there's like I did a video on it in my 100-day series yesterday. Yeah, I mean, if you care to read about it, gentlemen, it's quite fascinating. It's called digital dementia.
Mm.
It's a neuroscience term, and it springboards off certain cognitive biases, like the Google effect, you know, and beyond. But it's basically now, thanks to having, you know, these devices with the world's knowledge at our fingertips, that we are a race of people that aren't figuring stuff out. We're just knowing where to find things, you know. And I don't really. I don't really vibe with that at all. David, you'll see
Oh,
it.
really? Oh yeah.
You'll see it in the magic community, mate. And I don't know if you've spent any time around magic tricks yourself, Pascal, but you get these trailers for new effects that come out, like no sleight of hand, no memory work, gimmick does all of the work for you, and you're like, so what am I showing them then?
Yeah.
Right? What am I performing? You know, am I a magician, or am I just a likable person that knows where to shop? You know,
Oh
that
yeah. Well, even
that
one more thing. I've come across it on an hourly basis with people and their debit cards. They're so used to using that electronic leash, and even before that, the tap,
yeah,
which
yeah,
I just outright refuse to do
yeah,
because I don't want to fall into that.
yeah.
And what they've actually, I don't know if it's Walmart or the banks have started doing it here. They've decided to put something like, from what I've observed, a counter on it. It counts how many times you've tapped, and then it will freeze it so you've actually done it. And then I
Interesting.
just watch people get frustrated, and I'm like, could I explain you my observation, or should I just walk away? I don't know sometimes because a lot of them they
Bring them
don't want to
down.
listen. Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's a funny old world we live in. Here's a fun thing you can try, actually. Um, you say to someone like, did you choose the code that protects your phone, or did it come preset? Everybody knows that you choose the
Mm.
code yourself, but it's an into the conversation. And then my next follow up question is something like, okay, and how good would you say your memory is? Just as a apparently disconnected topic. And if somebody goes, well, not very good, or it's only good for certain things, or I can remember the face but not the name, all of those cliches, and then
Mhm.
I'll kind of revert back to, so when you think about it, you chose those 4 or 6 digits with that in mind, which means you've picked a number that means something to you. And most of the time, it's either a date of birth or a year for something, depending upon whether it's a
Mm.
four digit code or a 6 digit code. And a few other questions, and you can get pretty close to figuring out somebody's PIN code that they use to protect their phone. It's not like a surefire magic trick or anything like that. It's
Mhm.
using your inductive reasoning and thinking about the way people respond to memory as a result. And
Mhm.
and when you get pretty close, I'm like, I always frame it like I got all of that because you don't think you've got a very good memory. So you chose an easy to read number from you to essentially protect your whole life. And just to go to frame it like they should really give themselves more credit. But it was like an epiphany idea that popped into my head one day, and then just the more I've used it ever since, the more it's become a commonality. You know,
Mhm.
you go. So you probably chose like a date of birth or a year, and then watch their face go, yeah, yeah. You watch for screensavers to see if they have any kids or not, because if they don't, then it's normally like a wedding anniversary or a birthday or something like that. Uh, you can kind of worm your way in accordingly, just on how they respond
Mhm.
to whether they think they've got a good memory or not.
Mhm.
And that's both um, unsettling as an observation for humans. And I mean, it's good for me as somebody that works with with that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. Um, but
Yeah.
Pascal, how are you getting on with memorizing playing cards?
It's I didn't put enough energy in it to be honest.
Huh?
I managed to start it, but I have so much going on in my life. I missed like it's gonna be the fifth course that I will miss this week with you. So, and things are cruising my part of the world. So I tried to do it, but when it comes to we have like a lot of my kids were sick. I got sick because
Mate.
they were
Oh.
sick, and long story short, things fell apart. So
Oh
that's
God.
good. But and so I didn't put it up. But the difficult part that I have with that is it's still images, and that's where I try to find stuff or meaning to the cards
Mm,
that
Mm.
is logical to the
mhm,
cards for my slow brain that I have
mm,
for remembering images
mm,
and things like that. So the processes of making like a two of heart, like putting a name, an action, and a place or an object to it, it's kind of hard because I have to make it look in my head from the two of hearts. I,
gotcha.
I just can put like I don't know a bird flying through glasses or something like that. That
Yeah.
makes no sense because I won't remember it because I don't see the images that should come with it. So
Gotcha.
I kind of struggle with that. I'm trying to figure out using the principle that you taught
Mm,
about the name, the action, and the
mm,
object, but
mm.
with those kind of principle with for someone with aphantasia that I can rely on those
True.
all those things because for my mother's uh, birthday, I memorized like a deck of cards in 5 or 6 seconds, around that magic trick that I did, but it was kind of a cheating one. So it was a little bit easier, but but she didn't know that, so
Yeah.
that went well. But I want to genuinely learn how to do it, and I think that I will have to sit and make it logical for me. So, and probably cross-reference some other techniques that you teach
Well,
to
yeah.
try to make it
One
more,
of,
I don't know.
maybe one of the things I used to play around with in the early stages was using the suits as symbols of what they connect to. So hearts would be around romance and love and positivity, and that type of thing. Clubs would be around luck, a big, the clover and plant life and things that look like a club. Spades would be about mystery, and diamonds would be about money and wealth and jewels, and that type of thing. So I would have a scaling system in my head. Depends on whether you think aces are high or low, right? I know it changes depending upon the card game, but some people have got like a default opinion about it. To me, aces are always high. So my lowest value mystery would be like the two of spades, and I would think about, well, what is a low value mystery? You know, I who ate all the cookies in my house? That's a low value mystery in my house, because most of the time it's me, and I would make those connections. So I mean, it's not exactly devoid of images, but it's got its root in logic that's built from the playing cards themselves. Because person action objects, they're great if you gel very well with images. You don't,
Yep.
right? So it's when all else fails, fresh tactics in that kind of scenario. So that might be something worth playing with, using the idea of the suit as a prompt for what occurs to you. It doesn't have to be love or luck or any of that kind of stuff. It can just be whatever occurs to you when you look at it. That's Pascal's logic then, as opposed to Pascal's wager. That's a different philosophical term. But we're not going to debate religion right now. We shouldn't do that. We aren't the people to do that. We aren't the people to do that. But that might be something worth playing with, mate. Use them as a kind of springboard for thoughts rather than a springboard for images. And since the memory of it is something that you're not doing for competitions, talk it through. Like, you have to be quiet in competitions. You can't speak out loud. You can't talk. You'll lose points if you're talking to yourself and whispering and So if you're not going for competition, you're just going for a life skill to know that you can do it. Talk to yourself. That's a great way to try and make meaning out of something. That's one of the ways that I enjoy practicing languages. I walk around the house just kind of talking to myself in Chinese or Arabic or French or something. And you get most of the time, I walk back into the room and my daughter sat there watching TV, going, "Are you okay?" Just because I've been talking to myself for the past 10 minutes. But I want to get used to talking. I don't want the reflex to be silence or the reflex to be quiet. I want the reflex to be talking. However shit it sounds, and however rubbish it sounds, and most of the time it doesn't really sound that good. Because I was never interested in really sounding that good when I spoke languages. It was more about understanding. But that's the point, mate. You're same for you as well, David. Same for anyone else watching. Unless you're memorizing for competitions, lean into it, right? If you want to make it a bit more real for yourself and talk it through out, do it. Right? You're only going to get strange looks from people on the bus. You know, you're not going to get marked down or thrown out of the competition or anything for that. Right? Yeah, maybe worth a shot.
Yeah, I will try that.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I already talked to myself a bit like that already, so.
oh, you're well versed in that already, then, Dave.
Mhm.
Oh dear. So yeah, I mean, what are you guys working on at the minute then? Besides, well, are you working on anything particular? Is it just the magic for you, Dave, or the life for you, Pascal? By the sounds of things.
Well, go ahead, David.
Well, everyone, I got back into doing the Pipes 2.0, so every once in a while I'll listen to one of those. And I just decided to take this week off to catch up on a bunch of my YouTube things, and uh, I was hoping to get some other things done, but just with the weather, I'm just so lethargic. But I haven't wasted the time either. So
Nice,
uh,
nice.
although you're talking with you mentioned Igor, I'm familiar with him, but I didn't know about his memory palace therapy. I'm actually kind of curious about that now
But
because
it's not his. Bear in mind, he's done
oh, okay.
he's done things with it. But
Mhm.
he kind of put me on to that area, that branch. He's definitely done things with it, but it's not his. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because no, dealing with anxiety, and I would like to perform, but I can't seem to get myself to do it occasionally. Even just thinking about it, I start to stutter and whatnot. So that sounds like an idea. I should look him up on it. My It's Mind Palace Therapy. How do you
Well,
what would you say?
that's all I went to do is Google Scholar, and
Mm-hmm.
don't use Mind Palace. Mind Palace is very much the BBC Sherlock term. Memory Palace,
Oh, okay.
Memory Palace,
Memory Palace. Okay.
and Memory Palace therapy or Memory Palace therapeutic technique. These types of. I mean, I've got the research I've downloaded. If you want, Dave, I can just send it to you.
Oh, sure. That would I would be very interested in that, and maybe I might try and contact Igor somehow, depending on what I find with it in that, because I've seen a bit of his stuff and went crazy watching all of his YouTube videos. I
Yeah.
haven't had any updates on that, but maybe that's YouTube not sending it to me, and they've sent to me all the other things.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, you know, he lives in Europe, so he kind of got
mhm.
shut down for a month. Well, for a week
uh,
or so, whenever it was that they turned off the electricity to Europe. um,
Oh, I hadn't heard about that. I actually try and avoid the news as much as possible.
I
I
can
have
imagine.
visual actually. Yeah, no, I get it winds me up very easily, unfortunately. So I love listening to your stoic stuff because I'm like, damn, this is so much what I need.
Well, I'm glad it helps, mate. I'm glad it helps. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
I can only imagine that being a Canadian is what's a fair description? Tense on the political stage. Is would that be a fair assessment?
Certainly, lately, yeah, that's for sure.
Yep.
And probably I don't even know half of the reasons why it should. I know some of it has because even some of the archaeology shows that I've been going, that the politics has been leaking into it, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
god, I didn't want to. I wasn't watching that for that, but okay, I understand. I can understand why you're frustrated with all the budget cuts and whatnot, and it frustrates me too because that's been the major reason why I have an all or nothing thinking with a lot of things. So trying to search into heritage and my field is links into the stage fright because I start to get, oh no, if they don't have enough, maybe somebody like me who's not that great fly off the handle with whatever doomsday scenario that's popped in my head. So a lot of this work working with you in your courses is great for me to try and get at least the bare bones confidence to stop doomsdaying about things.
Well,
if nothing else.
perfect. Well, consider this, but please only consider this as an option you can take at any time you want.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
If ever you want to perform something, start here. Consider this one of those safe spaces, because I'm sure I could speak for Pascal, but I don't want to. He can speak for himself. When I say that we've been in situations that are very similar, right? I grew up with my hands shaking, and then when I started sleight of hand magic, my right one stopped, my left one still does. So even though I don't have anxiety anymore, it still communicates that way. So I can kind of sympathise in that situation. So if you ever want to jam something, hey, I've got this idea. What does this look like? You know, this is a place that you can trial that if you want to, right? Just to put that out there, mate.
Thank you for the invite on that.
Because if nothing else, it's practice with people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're not actually there, and it would be different if we were, but if
one
you
style,
100%, mate, 100%, it's there if you want it. But yeah, in terms of the memory palace therapy stuff, I can whiz you some of that over. I've got your email, so. I mean, cards on the table. I have a lot of hard drives, and I don't know which one it's on.
No worries.
So it might take me a day or two to find it, but I've definitely got it.
Oh, don't worry. The fact that you're offering this is great, and I have, if I really put my mind to, I have oodles of things I can do to keep myself occupied in the meantime. And I'll take your suggestion on going to Google Scholar with just that alone. So
if in doubt, Google Scholar is a wonderful free resource. And as I understand it, cards on the table, not played with it, but as I understand it, Perplexity AI is one of those AI services that is geared towards research and science-backed data. Though if it does end up being terrible, I apologize. I've never played with it.
Well, it's in the experimental stages. I would expect people are doing it with goofing around at the moment more than anything else.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, nice. How about you then, Pascal? What are you working through, mate? Besides numbers.
I'm playing a lot with Polar. I love Polar. It's so much fun to do. Trying to acute my deduction, adduction, induction about tattoos.
Nice.
Playing a lot with that because I have so much fun analyzing tattoos from some people. And but Polar, I would say it. Oh, cool.
Good book.
I didn't. I saw the green one. I don't know. I don't remember the name, but this one.
Oh, like mate, I have loads, but just in terms of with you mentioning reasoning as a connection, it's a great practice to look at a piece and be able to reason whereabouts in the world it's connected to. Great book. Anyway, carry on, mate. What you were saying? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Well, I suppose I kind of did.
That's good. But that's we're used to each other, so that's no problem. There's no problem for that. But with Polar, the people, I find it really interesting how much we can gather information and induce what people gonna react and how they're gonna react with that. It's towards that I'm playing the most with the action, trying to before they're gonna do some stuff, trying to deduce what they're gonna do first. And when I'm with my friends or with people that I don't know, because I had time with the chess tournament that my kid, that Aramis did, that finished 14 out of 50. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And really good because it doesn't play for, it's playing for like 8 months. So that's awesome. And
On top of that,
yeah.
that is good.
Yeah, that's really good. But we were like probably 400 parents in the room, so I had plenty of time to look, and I was like that, and some parents were around me, and I said, oh, this person gonna do that because of that, and when he get out and do exactly what I people were around me, I was like, how the did you do that?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Pascal just goes, I'm from the future.
No, I said I learned with the best, but you don't know him because he speak English, so screw you. I speak English. So but that was really fun to do, and
Love
since then everywhere I go I always try to use those technique because I think that the more you use it, the more you're gonna I don't know the word in English, but le plus que tu vas t'approprier.
Yeah, it's competence. Competence.
Yep. You're gonna make yours with how you see things, how you use it, how you understand it, and it's gonna be fast and faster and faster. Like memory technique.
Yeah.
The more you use it,
the more you practice,
the more you practice, the more it's gonna be faster. When I first learned how to do a double lift, it was awful. It wasn't good at all. Now I can talk, do things, do it, and doesn't think about it. And I want Polar to be the same.
Yes.
So I need to practice, and I love that. So I'm working a lot on that. I'm working with Polar and chess, that we're trying to profile chess player by knowing what kind of player they're gonna be. You can know the action they're gonna do, so which kind of move they're gonna play, so you can stop them for that. I'm using it.
Oh, nice.
With Aramis, we're trying to make like a system out of that, but so far so good. At the early stage that we are. So
a question, Pascal. Is that Ben's Polar website, or is that another one?
It's Ben. It's Ben.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm with the Sherlock Hero Long courses. That
yeah, I signed up for. I haven't done any of the courses yet, but I purchased the Pipes 2.0, so I've been going through that. I don't have quite enough funds, especially with how thinly I spread myself, to go into the other things. But I think I still have a register for something. Yeah. So
you're on the Polar for protection of social events. Yeah. So you'll get the insight, but in terms of where Polar's going on general release as a product itself, it will be going out through the Integris solution. It's being geared as a profiling tool for those in executive protection.
Okay, so it's your other site, but it's still your site.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Integris solution is mine and Jim's, and Omniscient Insights is mine. So the difference being that the Integris solution is geared towards the security field, and Omniscient, it facilitates more of the investigator products, but it's more human tools than that. Like there's memory programs. The real life Sherlock programs will be going out on there as a monthly subscription soon enough. As soon as I find an extra 4 or 5 days in a week that I can edit my way through it, so I can do that.
Not a problem. Yeah,
But yeah,
I've got both of them on my tabs. Actually, a few of them different ways. But yeah, no, I follow both. I
well,
just
I
didn't want to assume, Pascal, that that was the only thing that you were doing, because I was like, wow, one of the few things that I don't remember Ben talking about was chess, at least not recently, anyways. So,
I've I've played one game of chess from memory,
mhm,
and, just to see if I could.
mhm,
I can do the Knights tour, but in terms of like proper games of chess,
mhm.
in my entire life, I have only ever played 24 games, and that was recently. And
Mm.
of those, I think I won like 11.
Well, that's better than what I've done. The first thing that comes to memory was something 20 years ago with a chess master. I volunteered to be one of the suckers that he did the 10 games in a row to beat and whatnot. I was on the receiving end of the master, anyways, in this case.
You know,
So,
it's an education of sorts,
mhm.
no matter how you look at it.
Oh yeah. No, so when Pascal was talking about chess, I was like, oh, I haven't done that in a while, and oh, all sorts of other things like that, like those memories on that was flooding in, and it was like, oh, that's cool.
What's
Well,
is Aramis going to be like the next Bobby Fischer then, or something like that?
He wants to be that, but probably a
ooh,
little bit less crazy than Bobby Fischer. But I hope so. But
Yeah, that's fair. That's
but
fair.
he wants to be an international grandmaster. So
Oh, fair.
oh, good for him.
he wants to be the top of that cream. So that's good.
Yep.
I think he has the brain for that. So
Is it it's Magnus somebody that's a young chess
it was
prodigy or something?
it was Magnus Carlsen till this year. After that, it's another one, Ganesh something, that is an Indian guy that
Took
uh,
the crown.
Magnus, yeah, top the crown. Magnus was there for 10 years in a row, and
Oh,
hell of a player,
Yeah.
but such a big ego. I don't like
of
him. At one tournament, he arrived like an hour late for his game because when everything they start the clock, and if you're not there, the clock run out of your time and you lose. Him just going an hour late, and won the tournament. You're like, what the? But
I mean,
oh,
that's a dick move, but it's kind of a rock star move as well.
it's
yeah.
he is a rock star, you know. It's the higher player in Elo. You know, the Elo is like
Mhm.
the classment that you have, the point that you have when you win chess. He is the highest that never one achieved till
Wow.
now.
Wow.
Hmm.
So
I was thinking Musashi myself in this case. The fact that he would come late was part of his strategy to throw off the opponent to start with.
it could be. It could
Yeah.
be. It definitely could be because it surely does kind of make it like, what the hell is happening? So you're out of your game for sure, but
Yeah.
it's such a disrespect, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I don't know how much you want to actually go that route, partly because you don't, because now a lot of the martial arts guys I used to hang around with, they sort of, oh, he just did that to make up for the fact that he was not actually a great swordsman. He was a great strategist, but not a great swordsman, which which was what he was acting at. So, it kind of defeats the purpose, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. What was the point of the duel? Was to survive, too. So you want to look at it that way. But in this case, yeah, you don't necessarily have to do that because it's not a life or death situation. So
No,
uh,
it's not how I want my son to turn out. At
Yeah.
least,
no, neither that way.
No.
Because while he might be great in that field, it might throw himself off in the field of life.
definitely.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure to hang out with you this evening. Sincerely, I've had a lot of fun, and
Mhm.
I'm going to sign off a few minutes early, cards on the table, because my food is also on the table over there.
Oh, well, definitely go and get that. I can appreciate that.
Such a bad excuse. My food is on the table, blah, blah, blah. You're right.
It's like one of those cartoons, where the smell comes over and you just float on over to it.
I have no difficulty to see you do that. You know, like you walk on your toes like that, like in a cartoon.
Oh yeah.
Give me a good smell, I could make it happen. I tell you, I'm like Fred Flintstone's twinkle toes has got nothing on me.
I would challenge Maddie to do that just to see that on camera one day.
She'd be able to the twinkle toes anyway. She's aerial yoga, and these people that spin around on silks and stuff, and she's all arabesque and whatnot. So she's probably the person that could actually do that. Whereas I would go sit straight down. that's more my attempt to it. I can fly straight down. Right, gentlemen. And I will see you all very soon. All right, guys, take care.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
You too.
See you later.
Bye.